So we'll be starting, like I said, in a comfortable seat, either sitting on a mat or a blanket to elevate the sit bones, or maybe even your yoga blocks. Whatever makes you feel more comfortable gives you access to a longer spine. So that's the reason why we elevate the hips often, is so that we can, gently encourage the pelvis to tilt more forward versus back and grow nice and tall from the crown of the head. Okay. So once you're there, start softening through the shoulders, maybe close the eyes. The hands can rest wherever they feel comfortable. And just arrive here. Bring your whole self to this moment. Regardless of what's been going on already in your day, in your morning, regardless of what you have scheduled to do later, the only focus right now is right now. And continuing with an intention I introduced yesterday regarding, happiness being about being easily pleased, I'm going to start by sharing a passage from Mark Nepo's The Book of Awakening. So you sit there and breathe and enjoy this moment to just be in stillness, and I will share. So many of us have been trained to think that being particular about what we want is indicative of good taste, and that not being satisfied unless our preferences are met is a sign of worldliness and sophistication. I remember being at a party where a woman wouldn't accept her drink unless it was made with a certain brand of vermouth. Or going to dinner with a colleague who had to have his steak prepared in a complex and special way, as if this particular need to be different was his special public signature. Or watching very intelligent men and women inscribe their circle of loneliness with criteria for companionship that no one could meet. Often, this kind of discernment is seen as having high standards, when in actuality, it is only a means of isolating ourselves from being touched by life, while rationalizing that we are more special than those who can't meet our very demanding standards. The devastating truth is that excellence can't hold you in the night, and as I learned when ill, being demanding or sophisticated won't help you survive. A person dying of thirst doesn't ask if the water has chlorine or if it was gathered in the foothills of France. So with that, setting and joy, pleasure in even the simplest things. Maybe in the fact that you get to sit here for a few moments to yourself. Maybe in the fact that you can breathe freely in and out through the nose. Finding pleasure in the movement of the body, the gentle sensation of stretching and flowing. Yeah, let's be here for it all. Continuing to sit here, lifting up through the crown of the head and softening the shoulders. We'll add a few rounds of breath with the arms. Inhale, sweep the arms all the way up. Exhale, hands to heart center. Again, inhale, arms out and up. Exhale, hands to heart. One more just like that. Inhale, sweep the arms out and up. And hands to heart center. Good. We're going to start leaning towards the right here. So reaching out with your right arm until you touch down, and then sweeping the left arm up and over. And we're going to hold for a few moments here. So actively reaching through the left fingertips and sinking down through that left sit bone. Good. Coming back to center, other side. So reaching out towards your left, reaching up and over with your right. Keeping this stretch in a nice lateral plane, so we're not dipping the shoulder forward. We're staying more lifted. Good. Coming back. Now we're going to lean towards the right again and just move back and forth, but always to the right. So inhale, sweeping the left arm up. And exhale, center. And again to the right, reaching up and over to the right. And center. Inhale, right. And center. One more. Reach it up. And center. Beautiful. Other side, leaning to the left. And center. Inhale, extend. Exhale, come back. Two more. Last one here. Good. And begin to just roll those shoulders up towards the ears and back. Up towards the ears and back. One more time this direction. Opposite direction. Beautiful. Coming back to stillness here, working with just the head and the neck here. So keep the spine long, drop your chin down towards your chest. Roll right ear to right shoulder and hold. Keep that left shoulder gently drawing away from the left ear. And then slowly bringing the chin back down, other side. Left ear, left shoulder. Good, and bringing the chin back down and then back to neutral. Good. Sweep the arms up high here. We're going to interlace those fingers, flip the palms up towards the sky, push up. Good, and start taking those nice big halos overhead. So it's a full upper body movement here. The rib cage is moving, the arms are moving. And then opposite direction. Good, and then taking those interlaced fingers behind the head so that the elbows come nice and wide. Good, and now we're gonna drop to the elbow, the right elbow down to the right. So down to the right, back to center, now left. Center, now right, and left. And right, and left. Good, keep the spine long. We're gonna gently tilt the chin forward so that the hands add just a little bit of weight here as we stretch the back of the neck. And then slowly begin to look up. The hands are gonna catch the head as you open the elbows out wider, reach up through the collarbones, little tiny back bend, more of a lift. Good, and then release that down. Great. So from here, we're gonna switch the cross of the ankles. Still stay in our seat if you're comfortable or feel free to adjust, and then grab your strap. So any kind of strap will do. I actually have a yoga mat strap, not a yoga strap. That's okay because it's prettier and I like that. So anything that's long will work. Take a nice wide grip here. So at least as wide as your knees or maybe a little wider. And then start lifting the strap forward in front of you, keeping the elbows straight-ish, so not locked out, but pretty straight. And then start reaching behind you and then just check in. Notice where you start feeling a strong sensation of stretch, maybe linger there. And then bring it forward. And we'll do that about 3 more times, just lifting up nice and slow, reaching behind you and forward. And again, lifting up and back and forward. Okay, so similar movement, we're just gonna add more of a figure 8 here. So lift the strap forward in front of you. Now take that right hand and reach behind your back. The left arm will follow. And then reach forward in front of your face with the left arm, and then the right arm will follow. And we'll keep doing these figure 8s here. So just adding a little bit more of a movement to the shoulder. One more this direction. Good, opposite direction. So this time the left arm reaches up, right arm follows, right arm forward, left arm follows. And just keep moving in these big circles here. Beautiful. And then just release the strap down. Okay, so we're going to reach for opposite elbows behind the back here. And so if you can't quite reach opposite elbows, you can just reach for opposite forearms or wrists, and then just sit up nice and tall. So notice how that already starts to kind of feel like a sense of opening in the shoulders. Keep the heart lifting. 2 more breaths. Good, and then release the hands all the way up. On the exhale, bring them back behind you and see if you can grab onto opposite elbow. So it should feel kind of awkward, and that's okay. Just kind of evening it out. Good, and then release that. We're gonna take the strap, the right hand, and you're gonna lift the right elbow up towards the sky so that your tricep is getting a bit of a stretch here and the strap is dangling behind you. And we're gonna take the opposite arm, so the left hand, reach behind your back so that the left elbow points down, and then find your strap. So you're hanging on to the strap here for this pretty intense shoulder opener. Try to keep the spine long, almost like in a cow shape where you're really lifting up and forward through the heart. Still rooting down through the sit bones and lengthening up through the crown of the head. Softening through the face, finding your breath. Good, and then release that. We're gonna try that on the other side. A little itch. So taking the strap over to your left, reaching that left elbow up so that the strap again dangles behind your back, getting a bit of a tricep stretch here. Right hand behind you, reach for the strap, and we breathe. And if there's a big difference between the sides, just acknowledge that without any judgment. Just work with whatever is present right now. Good. Now we're going to release the strap to the side and start transitioning to our tabletop. So I highly encourage you to bring a blanket underneath the knees. Just why not make it more comfortable, right? And bring your blocks towards whatever you choose to be the top of your mat, the front of your mat. So I'm going to set myself up here with the blanket under the knees. And then find your tabletop alignment here with fingers open nice and wide, index finger pointing forward, not so much the middle finger. Keep reaching forward through the crown of the head, engaging your belly button, so up and in. And then straight back through the tailbone, maybe curling those toes under. Good. We're going to move in a few barrel rolls here. So we're going to step to the right as you reach back. And then come back forward, start rounding the spine, dropping head and neck, and sinking towards your right again. And we'll just take this nice and slow in this direction for a few more rounds. Two more. Maybe closing the eyes, again, getting lost in the movement, just following the breath. And then finding neutral. Pause, opposite direction, sending the hips back and to the left, scooping around, rounding the spine, dropping the head, and continuing on. So don't overthink this too much. And we'll do one more full round here. And come back to center. Once again, find stability here, find length through the back of the neck. Let's reach the right arm up, threading the needle here. So right arm underneath the left, drop your weight down to the right shoulder, right ear. Left hand can reach forward or stay where it is. Keep those hips lifted and breathe. Good. Slowly make your way back to your tabletop. Sink the hips straight back. So keep the toes tucked under. Sink the hips straight back. And then reach your fingertips forward. So a bit of a modified child's pose here. Getting that stretch in the soles of the feet and the toes, getting length through the spine. Good. And then just gently reaching the heart forward, coming back to your tabletop. And we'll thread the needle side. So sending the left arm high. And then threading it underneath the right. Dropping left shoulder, left ear down to the mat and hold. Good. Slowly make your way back to your tabletop. Great. And then you're going to sink your hips back towards the heels again, but this time widen the knees, bring the toe mounds to touch, and take a traditional child's pose. Low to the ground with those hips and walk your hands as far to the right as you can. So sinking down and back through the left sit bone and reaching up and to the right with the left fingertips. Good. Walk the hands forward and take it to the other side. So again, reaching as far to the left as you can through those right fingertips and pressing down and back through the right sit bone. Good. And then come back to center. Good. You're going to slowly start making your way back to that tabletop. And then come to standing on your knees. Okay, so we're going to prepare for gate pose here. So in gate pose, you're going to keep your left hip stacked over the left knee. And we're going to extend the right foot out to the right. Your right toes are pointing forward. Okay. And then from here, deep side bend, we're going to start gliding that right hand down, sweeping the left arm up and over. And focus on reaching upward as well as to your right. Can you relax through the jaw? Can you feel that full length through the left knee up into the left fingertips? Good. And then coming back, tucking that right knee next to the left. I didn't leave myself a whole lot of room here, so I'm going to rotate myself, but you stay exactly where you are. And we'll just do the same thing on the other side. So extending the left leg out. And then gliding down that left side, reaching the right arm up and over. And again, trying to stay in this lateral plane here. Good, and then making your way back to center. So you're standing on your knees. I'm joining you in the same direction again. Tuck your toes under here. This is totally optional, but just a little baby camel. So we're going to take the hands behind to the sacrum, fingertips point down. it's much more of a lift than a back bend, okay? So we're gonna press the heels of the hands down on the sacrum, keep the hips directly over the knees, squeeze elbows and shoulders, and notice when I do that, I start lifting up through my collarbones, maybe a little tilt up of the chin. And so I feel like the back bend is really in the upper back, not just kind of crunching the low back and throwing myself back. One more breath here. And coming back to center, sinking the hips back down. So untucking the toes and finding a moment of stillness here. Resting the hands on the thighs, finding length, again, through the upper body, through the spine. And breathe. Good. From here, we're going to transition again onto all fours. And you can move the blanket out to the side, and we're going to come all the way down to the belly here. So whenever you're ready, coming all the way down, lowering nice and slow, untucking your toes, and then lifting for Sphinx pose. Then lifting the upper body so that the shoulders are stacked over the elbows. And then a gentle tractioning forward of the rib cage, the collarbones, as you relax the shoulders down and back. Neutral, blah, 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 of neutral neck. Yeah, so let the neck be a natural extension of the spine here. So your gaze is forward and down. We're not lifting or tilting the chin. It's okay to feel a little discomfort here. We typically are in a position where the back is doing the opposite of this, so it's just not familiar. So just breathe into that. Of course, if there's any acute pain, got to back off. We'll do one more breath here. And then release it down. Good. Forehead to the palms or to the backs of your hands. And then wiggle your hips side to side. All right, we're going to do that one more time. So coming back into Sphinx pose, bringing those forearms down, the shoulders over the elbows, and just a sense of tractioning the heart forward as you relax the shoulders down and back, and breathe. Take one more inhale here. And exhale down. Again, forehead to the mat or to the backs of your hands, and just wiggle those hips. Maybe bend the knees and take a full windshield wiper movement here. All right, pausing here and extending the legs out long. We're just going to flip onto our backs. So a couple of things. You want to make sure you have your blocks and your strap near you, blanket as well, actually. So just flip on over. But again, just know where your props are. And then when you're ready, take a few breaths, just settling in with the full length of the spine rooting down on the earth, arms down alongside the body, palms flipped up. Knees will be bent, feet on the mat. One more inhale and exhale here. All right, bring those knees in towards your chest. Give yourself a little squeeze here and just rock side to side. Now we're going to keep hugging the right knee in. So interlace your hands and bring the right shin in towards you. And then we're going to kick straight up towards the ceiling with the left leg. So keep hugging down and in with your right knee and kicking up and out of your left heel. Now keep hugging into that right knee. We're going to very slowly start lowering that left leg down. Very slowly, eventually starting to activate the core in order to continue the descent of the leg without just dropping it. Good. And once your left leg is totally down, you can relax it. We're going to take this right knee across the midline for a supine twist. Feel free to kind of shift the hips to the right first, and then take your right knee over. This is where a block can be really helpful. So on whatever level works for you, you can have a block underneath the right knee, and then once again, square through those shoulders. Maybe you reach out through the right hand. You can look straight up or to your right. You can close the eyes. Whatever helps you settle in. We'll slowly start making our way back here. Good. And keeping the right knee in towards you, see if you can find your strap. And you're going to loop the strap around the right toe mounds. Feel free to bend the left knee if you prefer that versus extended. And then kick straight up towards the sky with the right heel. Toe mounds are nice and even. And then glide those hands down so that the elbows rest comfortably on the mat. And you start enjoying this pretty deep stretch here behind the right leg. Soften through the face and continue to breathe here. We're using the strap to guide the opening, not to force it. Take one more deep inhale and exhale here. And then take both ends of the strap into your left hand. We're going to slowly start sending that right leg or allowing the right leg to fall across the midline to the left. Any amount that feels like a nice stretch, but one that's not sharply painful in any way. And then slowly reach the leg back up. Bend your knee, remove the strap, take the leg out nice and long, and just notice the difference between both legs here. Maybe take a full body stretch, reaching the arms up overhead. And then once again, bringing both knees in towards you. Give yourself a nice big squeeze, and let's start just by simply rocking side to side. This time we're going to keep the left knee in. So interlace your hands around that left shin bone and kick up through the right. And just hold here, sort of opposing forces, drawing the left knee down, kicking up through the right heel. Now keeping the right foot totally flexed and active. Start slowly lowering that right leg with control until it comes all the way down, and then you can relax it. Good. We're going to take this left knee across the body for our twist, maybe scooping the hips a little more to the left, and then taking your twist, and then maybe deciding to support that left knee with a block and finding stillness here. I think one of the reasons we fail to find the beauty and the pleasure in the little things in life is because we don't stop long enough to notice them. We're always in a rush. We're always thinking about the next place we're going to go. We're always working on scooping up the next bite onto our spoon before even swallowing what we're chewing in our own mouths, right? We're never stopping to just savor what's right here, right now. And can you find something delicious in this twist right now? We're going to slowly start coming out of this twist, finding the strap, and then you decide if you want to keep the right leg extended or not. We're going to loop the strap around the left toe mounds and kick straight up through that left heel, glide those hands down, elbows to the mat, and soften. Slowly begin to bring both ends of the strap into your right hand. And then allow that left leg to start crossing the midline of the body all the way, maybe not really all the way, but whatever amount of way towards the left. I'm sorry, towards the right. Slowly bring your leg back to center. Bend your knees so you can remove the strap and then extend your legs out. Long, full body stretch. down, bend your knees, this time feet onto the mat again. Reach for a block. We're going to lift the hips and take a restorative bridge for a few breaths. So taking the hips, the sacrum, onto the flattest side of your block. So lift your hips and place the sacrum there on the flattest side of the block so that you feel really supported. And then just soften here for a few moments. Each opportunity where we find stillness in a pose is an opportunity for you to find your breath, reconnect to the moment, soften through the face, and surrender. From here, we're going to extend the right leg out long. Let the heel touch down and see what that feels like. Slowly bring that right foot back in. Try it on the other side. So extending the left leg out long, heel touches down, and you relax. And then slowly bring that back in. Make sure the block is a little bit more forward, so towards the heels, so that we can come to a supported legs up the wall. So we're going to lift both feet up off the ground and then extend them up. If this does not feel comfortable, you can always just do this without the block. Maybe taking 3 more breaths here. Good. And then bending the knees, taking the feet down, lifting the hips. Good. And then we're going to lower the hips. We're going to bring soles of the feet together and open the knees out. So Supta Baddha Konasana. And we're going to support the knees with the blocks. So as you bring the soles of the feet together and you open out through the knees, go ahead and make sure that they have some support so they're not just kind of dangling, right? And maybe if you happen to have your blanket near you, it can feel really nice to just kind of cover the belly for some grounding. Soften here. This is not Shavasana. We're just taking a little break, little pause in this shape. Take 3 more deep breaths. Bringing your mind back to the inhales and the exhales. Staying really connected to your physical body here. And if you had a blanket on top, just bring it off to the side. Use your hands to close your knees up like a book. You're going to just move to your right or left, so coming onto your side, and then lifting up to a seat. So from here, I highly encourage you to take the blanket and use that just to elevate the sit bones. So you can have it kind of on a pretty low level, or maybe you even double it up and have a higher seat. And we're going to start by sinking the sit bones down on the blanket, extending the legs out long in front, and just finding staff pose, right? So just lifting up through the crown of the head, rooting down through the sit bones. And even this, which may look simple, can be really challenging because we're just kind of tight and not used to sitting up nice and tall, right? Over time, we start doing one of these. So practicing lift heart, having that natural curve in the spine, and then the hip bones tilting a little bit more forward. And so you can absolutely feel free to bend the knees. From here, we're going to exaggerate the bending of the knees. So we're actually going to bend the knees quite a bit and plant your feet down. And you're going to drape your body over the thighs. So it's kind of like when you're doing a standing forward fold and we bend the knees and we bring the belly to the thighs. So that same idea. And we're going to let the head sort of dangle here. So the arms are nice and loose by the sides. So feet are hip width distance here. Belly to the thighs, and then relax your head. Slowly begin to lift yourself back up. Good. Now we're going to extend the left leg out long, but draw the right heel in. And you can have the right knee just out to the side on the mat, or you can support it with a block. Again, lifting up nice and tall here. We're going to fold forward over that extended left thigh or knee or leg, all of it. Inhale for length. And as you exhale, start moving slowly forward. And then settle here. Begin to walk your hands back. We're going to take this right foot, step it all the way to the other side of the left leg, and get ready for a twist here. So again, finding that nice long spine, right hand behind you, little anchor here to help you lift, and then sweep up through that left hand, left elbow to the outer right knee if that's accessible for your twist, or maybe you're hugging the knee in as you twist. Keeping the spine long as you rotate. Keeping both sit bones down on the mat and the breath moving, flowing easily in and out. And then slowly just start making your way back to center. We're going to lean back on the hands here. We're not dipping the back down, so we're keeping the back straight, but we're leaning back. You're going to bend that left knee and then keep the right ankle over the left, a little bit above the left knee. So we're creating this figure 4. Nice deep stretch here on the right hip. If you want more, you're going to lean more forward. So the closer your chest is to your right shin, the more intensity you're going to feel. If it's too much, you're going to back off. Good. Now slowly, we're going to begin to uncross, extend both legs out long. Find that staff pose again. So legs out long, shooting up through the crown of the head here, softening the shoulders and the shoulder blades down your back. Deep breath in. Deep breath out. Good. You're going to invite that left heel in. Again, the knee can come out to the side, or if it feels better with a little support, use a block underneath. Straighten out through the right leg, flexing those toes up. Big inhale. And then slowly begin to fold forward. Think belly and chest towards your foot, not nose to knee. Slowly walk it back. Take your left foot. We're going to cross it up and over towards your right. Make sure the full foot is rooting down. Left behind you. Sweep up through the right hand. Nice tall spine. And take your twist. And then slowly unwind. Good. And then from here, we're going to lean back again. So you're going to bend that right knee so that the left ankle kind of dangles. Dangles is an interesting term. Just kind of is not directly on top of the knee so that you can take this figure 4. Let me rephrase all of that. Your ankle is on top of the right knee. It's your foot that has some space to move. So it's not foot to knee, it's ankle to knee. There we go. Okay. So from here again, you decide if you want to adjust by reaching the heart forward or back, what feels good, or it causes less dis-ease in the body, right? So maybe to get closer and closer in a deeper stretch, I'm really hunching down or I'm having to clench or there's a lot of force. We don't want that. We want a nice balance of effort and ease in our asana practice. And it's important to start paying attention to, that fine line where more effort is actually not yielding more return. All right, we're going to slowly release here and come back to that comfortable cross-ankled position that you took at the very beginning of class. We're going to fold forward, and this time the arms are going to be palms facing up. And you're absolutely going to round the spine here, so don't worry about that. So when you're ready, begin to reach forward. Maybe a block for the forehead is a good idea. And then the arms, the palms are going to face up in this gesture, this beautiful gesture of receiving, and just soften here. Slowly begin to bring yourself back up. We're going to do the same thing, but with the opposite ankle in front because it just changes the stretch in the hips. And so switch the cross of the ankles, or instead of crossed, I have one foot in front of the other. That's a little better for me. And then once again, folding forward. And again, extending those palms up towards the sky, maybe the forehead on a block, and settle here. Slowly begin to lift yourself back up. All right, we are ready for Shavasana. So we're going to lower onto our backs. The two options that you have today are one, just a traditional Shavasana extended fully out on your mat. The second option is just a little bit of a heart opener here. You can use your blanket kind of like this in a long rectangle and bring your hips to the mat, but then roll the whole length of your spine onto the blanket. Again, just a little bit of a lift here. And you can choose to extend the legs out long, or maybe come back to that Supta Baddha Konasana with the soles of the feet together and the blocks underneath. So whichever variation you decide on, just go there and begin to soften. Begin to release all effort from the body and mind. Anchoring the mind on the breath. And imagining that the thoughts that continue to come in are just like clouds. They come in, but they also move out. And so instead of engaging with the clouds, simply watching them as the outside observer of your mind, noticing the thoughts come in and the thoughts move out.